Round one against Musashi. Why, hello and good luck, Musashi. Would you like to play first? Yes, very much so. Well, interesting hand. We're keeping it, and we're gonna move forward with maybe a little bit of aggression, and then our clue stones will help us play our cards. We'll go ahead and play our dude. Yes, I want to unleash it. Best case scenario for a Rakdos Cackler on the play. And this might end up 2-for-1-ing somehow, getting a 2-drop off the board. Not that that would be ideal, but such is life. Then we'll go ahead, get some early points of damage in, and see if my opponent has a way to stop me. Well, we do have the clue stones on board. And Drudge Beetle. Yep, that's gonna happen. And because we have the clue stone on board, 3. Yeah, I still just want to offer the trade here. My opponent doesn't really know what's going on. I'm assuming my opponent will take it. Yep. But my game is just to get my opponent's early game off the board, and then I'll be drawing into my big old dudes. So let's see what is up with that. 3-drop, Disciple, cool. Hired Torture. Unfortunately, I can't play that and the Clue Stone. But I do want to have the Hired Torturer out because that allows me to either pit fight or do something. And just having a 2-3 to come up the board is the game plan. There's nothing my opponent can have for green, so I'll F6 here. Only, I think, there's what, Giant Growth? Or some unplayable card. Oh no, does it Burst of Strength there? I think so. If my opponent attacks in, I'll take the block. There's a combat trick, go for it. I've already shown that I'm willing to trade a card for a card. So that's perfectly okay. Yep, there you go. Giant Growth. Again, A-okay with that. Get my opponent's cards out of hand while I go ahead and, well, I gotta think about how this is being played. Black and red. Yeah, this is cool. We'll play the Clue Stone. We'll play our Spike Jester. And continue to bash. Eyes in the Skies? No, that's at 4. What do you have? Oh, Selesnya Charm. Okay, okay. I get got there. I have to admit, I don't play around Selesnya Charm. I don't see that often. I mean, yeah, it's an uncommon. You're not supposed to see it all the time, but I also just, I mean, I honestly just forget about this card because it's probably been since Gate Crash I've even seen it. Interesting. So my opponent's going all in on that, which will be really good if I can draw land and maybe Explosive Impact, or, oh, here we go, War Leader's Helix now, which has got to be the play. Question is, do I let my opponent tap out, or rather draw into another pump spell of some sort? Not entirely sure. Yeah, let's just go ahead and do it now. I don't think there's a whole lot of value in waiting. I don't think there's going to be any sense of having... it's not like my opponent's going to really be tricking into something else. So, there's just nothing that I'm going to get my opponent on, like a Blood Rush or something. So, let's wait. And yeah, my opponent's just stuck, and I'm a little bit stuck. We've only drawn 3 lands this game. I have both my Clue Stones, but those are spells, so we should get some land soon to get the Maze Abomination or Explosive Impact out. And I definitely don't want to cycle the Clue Stones right now. considering that I have my 6 drops. Alright, Thrashing Mosh Dog. Land? Oh, or a spell. Either or is technically fine. We can take some beats from the Thrashing Moss Dog for a little bit, and we have Launch Party for later turns as needed. Tristani Summoner? Oh yeah, I forgot about Mr. Judge Beetle. So yeah, this might get a Launch Party. No blockers. Hey, land, how about that? I'm actually considering just explosive impacting it at this point. While my opponent only has a Giant Growth up. Because I don't really want to get rid of this, and if I play Maze Abomination, I'm still not... I mean, I could trade with it, but that's still not exactly awesome. I will just go ahead and play Maze Abomination. See if my opponent wants to do the trade, and then after that I am going to be able to be winning the race. So we'll see. Race? Yeah. Okay. So my opponent's going there. We will be getting rid of the Moss Dog here, no matter what. We will attack with both. And then I think it is time just to Explosive Impact. Since my opponent has full mana anyway and 3 cards in hand, there could easily be something else. Little worried about a pump spell of some sort. My opponent's already shown playing 3 of them, but it's actually why I'm okay with doing it. How many pump spells does my opponent have? If my opponent's on the pump spell plan, then yeah, I get a little bit behind. I have to keep my Maze Abomination back with Explosive Impact kind of wasted, but I think that's okay. And again, I'm not dead to it, so we should be okay. Okay. Starting to get the floods on, which makes sense because we didn't have lands for forever. We can go ahead and get rid of one of these clue stones. Like, we don't need the Boros clue stone anymore. If we draw Homing Lightning, do we care? No, because we have other cards. Yeah. Let's play that guy out. Attack for 6. And then we're looking basically to pit fight any card that gets dropped, assuming there's not a 5 power card. So my opponent might just be looking to see if I have anything. Yeah. So that was a good example of how the clue stones are really important to getting me to my high end. And I still think it was right to sort of aggressively trade, because that's what my deck's doing. It's just kind of knowing how my deck is designed to work. I don't mind trading off this Cackler, the Jester, or even, of course, this Higher Torturer for ones early on, because I feel like with the removal I have, as well as having a high 5, 6, and 7 drop slot, then we should be able to get there. But my opponent did flood a wee bit that game. Although I think it was pretty well balanced with me being fairly screwed, having only drawn 3 lands for a number of turns. So the clue stone's out, but still. But want to be careful. Also, though I didn't see another color, my opponent is playing a consistent 2-color deck, so something to keep in mind for sure. Alright, here is a tough spot. We have our plains for the splash and a swamp, but no red. So unfortunately, yes, we have to mulligan. This is a little bit better. We have at least a 3-drop. We need to get our splash on, but I don't want to go down to 5 on one. We are a deck that wants a whole lot of lands. Hey, and we have our splash. So that'll actually help us stay alive till we get our Minotaur Aggressor out. But right now we are in full late game mode because all we have are late game spells. Gateway Shade, Minotaur, all that fun stuff. So we'll start there. My opponent was playing red, which we kind of saw a little bit with Disciple old ways, but that could have been, a major factor. Ooh, and my opponent is stuck on 2, so let's try to start punishing with Gateway Shade. Not that it's going to do a whole lot, but do our best. Because it looks like my opponent... Oh, maybe there's something? Players can get... So that's interesting. Not too sure where my opponent's going with that. That is odd. Like, really odd. And if that's the case... What do I do here? I think we just ramp the clue stone in, and that means we're gonna bash in for 2. Take 2. Play the clue stone. Pass the turn. And having both of our removal spells up is going to be pretty sweet. Especially since we can pump the Gateway Shade twice. Ooh, that would have been a good card. But yeah, my opponent's just wickedly screwed right now. Which I acknowledge is a bummer. We're not going to be cycling the clue stone anytime soon. We're just going to bash in, get our 2 points of damage on. And then next turn we'll be dropping this Minotaur Aggressor, which, since my opponent was mana screwed and still doesn't have a 3-drop, is just going to be a bit of a beating. Especially because, having been screwed, we can just, Helix or Homing Lightning my opponent. And we actually can do both next turn in 1 turn. Yeah. So here we just go ahead and Homing Lightning. Attack in with everybody. That's that. So that wasn't that exciting. My opponent just got screwed both games and was playing a very weird Skullcrack. Everything else my opponent was playing seemed fine. Maybe my opponent just needed a playable. Had the classic Dragon's Maze issue, just kind of like what we had. Maybe trying to go 2 colors or something, didn't get all of them. Looks like had a Scanclab Giant early, maybe trying to go Gruul, needed to get into Selesnya. And then just didn't have the fixing to make it work. We certainly didn't see that, and my opponent could have gotten hurt because of that. Not too sure. Anyway, good games to Musashi, and we'll see you in round 2.